What's the hardest thing about writing? Well, it's getting started. Maybe you're having a hard time coming up with a story idea, or you're stuck on where to take your story next. If you want a way into a story or a way through, I have 9 story starters to help you. This free PDF is full of story seeds and prompts to get you going. To download your 9 story starters, go to nancypanuccio.com/start. That's Nancy with an I, Panuccio with 2 C's, nancypanuccio.com/start. Happiness may be great in real life, but it's fatal in story. Few things numb readers more than a character surrounded by birdsong and puppies who isn't risking something deeply important. There's no payoff when everything works out all hunky-dory or when the outcome is as simple as a character getting what he wants or not. Readers are hungry for danger. We're just hardwired that way. We want drama. I'm Nancy Panuccio, and on today's episode of Writer Unleashed, we'll explore 5 questions to help you create the dramatic tension readers crave. Stay tuned. Writer Unleashed is for you, a writer who has a story you want to bring onto the page and into the hearts and minds of readers. I'm Nancy Panuccio, writer, editor, and writing coach. And each week, we'll explore techniques, mindsets, and inspiration for writing stories readers can't put down. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let's begin. What is drama? Drama happens when desire meets opposition. Desire is the heartbeat of your story. It's what keeps readers emotionally invested, scene by scene, sentence by sentence. David Mamet defines drama as the quest of the hero to overcome those things which prevent him from achieving a specific, acute goal. That goal pulls your character through your story. It motivates him. It compels him to act. Every flashback, every scene, every piece of dialogue, every image, every description, everything is filtered through the lens of your character's desire. Now, readers love trouble. That's what they read for. They want to see characters struggle. They want to see the expression of human motivation, and they like to see the character not get into physical danger necessarily, but certainly they enjoy emotional danger. That's really what they crave. So to get your characters into trouble and for their own good, they have to be confronted with choices, hard choices, even impossible choices, the kind that shake their sense of who they are or who they thought they were. Once you get a fix on your character's desire, all other choices you make about your story flow much, much easier. But here's the thing. Human desire and the messiness it dredges up is complex. So here are 5 questions to explore so you can create drama in every scene and every page. Question 1. What does your character want? Your character comes into the story already wanting something and wanting it passionately, beyond reason. This pressing need urges him from scene to scene. Desire is the engine of your story. Now, desire is complex and it's multi-layered, But the idea when asking this question, what does your character want, is to first articulate your character's desire in simple, concrete terms. So what's the outward desire? For example, Anna Karenina wants to be with Vronsky. Humbert wants Lolita. Frank Wheeler wants to save his marriage. Question 2. Why does your character want what he wants? What's the unconscious desire? We may long for a person, thing, or outcome, but it's our unconscious desires that are running the show. Desire is not rational. It's primitive. That's why it's so formidable. And while we might not be able to wrap our head around the fact that a character does something mean, corrupt, foolish, illegal, or outlandish, we can understand and even sympathize with the underlying desire compelling it, even when we abhor what a character does. We can't wrap our mind around a woman drowning her baby. We can't even imagine that, but we can understand a mother wanting to save her baby from a life of slavery, as in Toni Morrison's novel, Beloved. Your character, by the way, does not have to be liked. They just need to be understood. In Nabokov's Lolita, Humbert knows deep down that his affair with 12-year-old Lolita is fundamentally wrong, and he spends much of the novel rationalizing his actions. His logic is skewed, of course. He's blinded by a rational, primal desire. Now, we detest how Humbert goes about satisfying that desire, but his desire isn't for sex. It's for love, and it's a love that's never reciprocated. We can't relate to his outward desire, but we can relate to the deeper unconscious desire. We know what it is to be in love with someone who doesn't reciprocate our feelings. We know what it's like to be constantly chasing. We've all experienced that to various degrees. Now, your character's why is what often complicates our reaction because we can relate to it. We can understand it. We identify with it. And this is a major gain. Question 3. What does your character do to get what he wants? What choices does he make? Wanting isn't enough. Your character can't just talk about what she wants or intellectualize about it or fantasize and all that. She must be in ardent pursuit of it. So what actions will she take to get what she wants? When obstacles are thrown in your character's way, what choices will he make in order to surmount those obstacles? Consider some of the choices Humbert makes to be with Lolita. When he's given the opportunity to become a boarder at her mother's house, Charlotte, he accepts because it brings him closer to Lolita. When Charlotte gives him the ultimatum to marry her or get out, he marries her, not because he loves her, but because it ensures that he'll always have Lolita close to him in his life. He even plots to kill Charlotte so that she doesn't impede his goal to have a sexual relationship with her daughter. When Charlotte dies in a freak car accident, he releases Lolita from summer camp. Now, he could, like any respectable stepfather, bring Lolita back home and give her a normal childhood. But what does he do? For the next 2 years, he takes her cross-country from state to state, from motel to motel, and he bribes her with lavish gifts in exchange for sexual favors. And he cultivates this mutual secrecy. And at every juncture, he makes a choice. He acts in servitude to his irrational desires. Question 4. What's keeping your character from getting what he wants? It can't come easy. So what's the external resistance? Someone or some force will be pushing up against your character's goal. What's the threat? What's the challenge? What's keeping Anna from Vronsky? Well, for one thing, she's married to Karenin, and as an aristocrat and socialite, she's also up against societal mores and expectations of her time. In Lolita, the resistance comes through societal taboos and even Humbert's own suppressed moral sense of right and wrong. So what are your characters' conflicting desires? How is your character standing in their own way of getting what they want? What's complicating that? We all tend to have simultaneous desires rubbing up against each other. The conflict may arise from external circumstances, but they're fought largely within, between our own emotional dualities. So Humbert, deep down, he's fighting his own sense of right and wrong. It's there, but he's suppressing it. So he does have conflicting desires. And as it turns out, when we get what we want, there's something equally valuable that we're forced to let go of. We might have to let go of our feelings about a loved one. We might have to let go of a prejudice. We may have to let go of what we believe is true about the world or even true about ourselves. Question 5. What's at stake? What hangs in the balance? Rather than ask, what's the conflict? A better question is this: what does your character stand to lose? And what does your character stand to gain? In Andre Dubus's classic A Father's Story, Luke Ripley is faced with a choice: report a hit-and-run accident in which a young man dies, or hide the evidence to protect his only daughter. If he reports the accident, he must also turn his daughter into the police. If he covers up the evidence, he robs the victim's parents of emotional closure and, at the very least, knowledge of what happened to their son. Now, the latter goes against the very core of what Luke knows is morally and legally right. Now, the stakes would be high for any father in this situation, but Dubus raises the stakes even higher by rendering a father who is also devoutly religious, and he spends the first third of the story setting this up. Luke's morning ritual centers around talking to God. He prays daily. He attends Mass each and every Sunday. His best friend is a priest. So when the moment of decision comes, he's wedged between two powerful but conflicting urges. What hangs in the balance, what he's forced to question, is his relationship with God, which is the fulcrum of his very identity. So when writing your story, instead of asking, what's the conflict, try asking, what's at stake? What does my character stand to gain? What does he stand to lose? Whatever the outcome, something will be lost and something entirely unexpected might be gained. If Anna stays with her husband, she's sentenced to a loveless marriage. If she divorces her husband to be with Vronsky, she's forced to abandon her son and be ostracized by Russian society. What does Humbert stand to lose? Not just Lolita, but his own deep denial that's been making the affair possible. Your character can get what she wants, but that doesn't mean all ends well. Will Anna get to be with Vronsky? Yes, but she loses all contact with her son. She loses custody of her son. She's banished from her society, and requited love with Vronsky isn't quite as blissful as the unrequited version. Will Humbert continue his affair with Lolita? No. Lolita escapes and she eventually marries a younger man. Now, Humbert, of course, is devastated. He's lost Lolita. He didn't get what he wanted, but he's gained, finally, some hefty realizations, and he's come to this, he's been forced to come to this moral reckoning. At the end, there's a painful acknowledgement of the harm he's caused, a truth that's been brooding beneath the surface of his consciousness throughout the entire novel. He couldn't suppress that truth anymore. So while he lost Lolita, he gained clarity and he took responsibility for what he did. So every scene in your story is going to contain conflict in relation to your character's desire. And that is the drama. That is what your reader is craving. Now, over to you. Pick a scene or a chapter from your work in progress and explore these 5 questions. Number 1, who wants what? What's the concrete desire? Question 2, why does your character want what he wants? What's the unconscious desire? Question 3, what does he do to get what he wants? Question 4, what and who stands in his way? And what are his own conflicting desires? How is he standing in his own way of achieving what he wants? Question 5, what hangs in the balance? What happens if he gets what he wants? What happens if he doesn't? What does he stand to gain? What does he stand to lose? Thanks so very much for listening today. I hope these 5 questions help you create more drama on every page and every sentence and every scene of your story. If this episode resonated with you, please leave a review. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hop on board. I come to you each week jam-packed with writing tips, techniques, and inspiration so you can write stories that matter to you and that matter to your readers. Keep writing, and I'll talk to you soon.